Hello everyone and welcome back to the Simple Joy Show. In this episode I'm going to dive into the art of creating a Christmas vision to guide you through the holiday season. We're going to explore how setting a clear, intentional vision for Christmas can actually transform your experience into one that's less about stress and more about a simple and slower pace. This is the Simple Joy Show, the podcast for people who are ready to declutter and simplify their homes and lives to create more space, time, energy and freedom. I am your host, Hayley Forster, mother, wife and declutter coach, and I'm going to be sharing with you simple bite-sized nuggets to help you on your journey to living a simpler life through the power of decluttering. So if you're ready to choose calm over chaos, then let's dive into today's show. Hello everybody, how are you all? Hope you are good. We woke up this morning to a nice dusting of snow outside. I've been checking the weather apps over the past few days because I know that some snow was supposed to be appearing, and there wasn't anything on my app, so I thought, oh well, we're fine, no snow. But then I woke up this morning and there's a nice dusting of whiteness outside, a little bit icy, but it's nice. I like being able to look out and see the nice blanket of snow in the garden, and the dogs were very excited this morning. Opened the door for them and they just ran round in circles for a good 10 minutes, bless them. And of course the kids were very excited as well. And it actually rounds off a really nice festive week we had. At the weekend we went to some Christmas markets, and we also went to what's called the Winter Wonderland in Yorkshire Wildlife Park. And basically what it is the zoo at night time, so all the animals are in bed, and they have lots of like lanterns and light shows, and it's really lovely, nice and festive. And you go for a little walk around the zoo and you look at all these very artistic lanterns. And my favourite part was the bit with the planets, so they had Earth and Mars and the moon and things like that, and it looked really impressive. But yeah, we had a really nice festive weekend last weekend, and then this weekend we've got nothing planned, which is good. So we're going to just get the house a little bit sorted and start putting the decorations up ready for Christmas, which my girls are extremely excited about. I have given them a little bit of an ultimatum and said that they need to tidy their bedrooms before we actually get the decorations out, so that's always a tactic you guys can use as well. If there's something that needs doing around the house, get the kids involved and use the decorations as blackmail. I always say that's a blackmail is a wonderful parenting method. So yeah, that's the tactic that we have went for this year, is to try and get them to sort their rooms, and then once they've sorted their rooms out, we are decorating and getting our tree out, which the girls love. It's one of their favourite times. They love just putting the festive tunes on and we'll get the Christmas tree up. And yeah, it's one of their highlights of the year for them. But anyhow, I know last week I did an episode on the KonMari method of decluttering, and I said I was going to do some more episodes on that, which I will, but I've been feeling very festive this week and I woke up to snow and I thought, well, this is a sign I need to do a podcast episode on Christmas. So I thought I'd do a one, especially for the December the 1st, it's the first day of December today. So I'm going to talk about Christmas, having a simpler Christmas and what that can mean to you and the impact that can make on you and your family's Christmas. So today I want to talk about the power of having a Christmas vision. It's not something that is commonly talked about, but I think it's a really important part of simplifying your Christmas for a much more enjoyable experience. Because let's be honest, the holiday season, especially Christmas time, I know in the US you've got Thanksgiving and which you've literally just had, but both of those activities, that they're often wrapped up in a whirlwind of expectations, of pressures, of things to do. You get a long list of jobs to be done, social gatherings, all of that. But I just want to ask you if at any point over the past few years, over the festive periods, have you stopped and just asked yourself, what do you really truly want your Christmas to look like and feel like? And that's where the concept of a Christmas vision comes into play, because often we are swept up in the moment and we live such busy, chaotic lives most of the time. We're not being very intentional. We usually just get swept up with everything, particularly when it comes to festive celebrations. And we just go along with the moment. We say yes to everything. We want to go all out. We're like, oh, it only happens once a year. Let's make it big. Let's do this, X, Y, and Z, which I'm all behind if that's something that you love doing. I love Christmas. I didn't used to. And that's, if you go back to episode 1, I discussed that in a little bit more detail, because when I was 13-year-old, my mum died 2 days before Christmas. So obviously for a few years I really struggled with Christmas, and I didn't really want to do much at Christmas at all. But once I had my own children and I saw the joy that it brought to them, it really brought back the Christmas spirit for me. So I love Christmas. I really enjoy it. And for a good few years I did get swept up in these expectations of having a very flamboyant and busy Christmas period. And that's because I was trying to make it the best Christmas I could for my children, because obviously I missed out on a few Christmases when I was younger because of the situation. And I didn't want my girls to ever feel like that, and I wanted them to have the best Christmases they ever could. But because of that, I put so much pressure on myself, and I probably went a bit overboard with a lot of the presents and the activities that we'd do, and I would book a schedule full, and every year it would just stress me out. And I got to the point where actually I wasn't particularly enjoying Christmas, because I felt so anxious about all of the things I had to do, and I thought, well, I don't have time to do this, I've already got X, Y, and Z to do. How am I going to possibly get it all done? But I need to, because I need to make it a special time for my kids. And it was just going round and round in circles. That was until one year I decided enough was enough, and I needed to just pare back a little bit. And I started doing a Christmas vision. And a Christmas vision, basically, it's an idea or an image of how you want your Christmas to unfold and look like. It's about setting intentions. And how do you want your Christmas to be? Do you envision a quiet Christmas with your close family? Do you want a Christmas that's focused on giving to others and volunteering? Or perhaps it's just a time of minimal fuss for you to just relax and chill out. Whatever you want your Christmas to be, your Christmas vision basically sets the groundwork for having a much more intentional holiday season. And I basically came up with this because of the fact that I had went through decluttering my home, decluttering my life, and it made such a positive impact on me. And ultimately what it came down to was me being very intentional. But what I found is that when I came up to Christmas, I lost that intentionality. I got swept up in the festivities. And that's what was causing the stress and the anxiety for me, is that I knew I wasn't being intentional. So I just took the principles of what I was using in my day-to-day life about trying to work out what it is that I actually want, what were my values, what did I want to focus on, and just get rid of everything else. That whole concept of keeping what holds true to you and what makes you feel good, and everything else is classed as clutter. Using that principle, but in a more festive approach for Christmas. And what I found is that when I had this Christmas vision, and it might change year on year, it depends. Like I done it a few years ago now, and it pretty much stays, I would say, 90% the same. But depending on obviously as the kids are getting older, some things might be slightly different. But with this vision, every decision about what we do becomes so much easier, because I can say no to activities that don't align to that vision that we've got, and yes to those that do. And the simplification of understanding what I do and what I don't want to do, it just naturally reduces that hustle and bustle that you get around the Christmas period, and it leads to a much more peaceful holiday. A few years ago, I would have things on every day of the weekend, every weekend, and then I would also have things on an evening to do as well. Whereas when I actually look at my calendar now for December, let me open up my phone, I don't actually think I've got that many activities in at all. I've got, let me see, the girls have got a couple of activities with brownies and with school, but other than that, we don't have a lot of things in there. And that's actually how I like it. That's what I intend my Christmas period to be like, because I like being able to be at home with the kids, watching Christmas films, playing board games. And yes, I'll go out and I'll do some Christmas shopping and we'll go to the Christmas markets and such, but that's much more ad hoc depending on the weather, and not necessarily having loads of things booked up in advance for lots of different activities in different locations every single weekend, because personally I was finding that far too stressful for me. The kids would get tired, they would get grumpy. Even though we're doing lots of lovely festive activities which they enjoy, it was becoming far too much for them because we were making our calendar so busy. So having this really clear vision about what it is that you want your Christmas to look like, the decisions about what you will and won't do become so much easier. And it also means that the activities and the traditions that you keep hold real meaning for you and your family. And that brings a much greater depth of joy to your celebrations as well, because you know that the things that you've got on the calendar are the things that you love and the things that bring you wonderful memories and the things that you hold dear. Your Christmas vision empowers you to take control of your holiday experience rather than getting swept up in the festivities and chasing up all those invites and trying to be everywhere all at once. By taking control of it makes it so much more enjoyable and much less taxing. At the end of the day, you're going to have reduced stress and overwhelm as well, which is what we all want at Christmas. Let's be honest, we don't want to feel this anxiety about the preparations that are coming up, and we definitely don't want to feel anxious during the actual Christmas days themselves. You want to be able to have this special moment with your family and make the most of it, and the Christmas vision enables you to do that. And an additional benefit that I've found as well, it can really help you take control of your Christmas spending, because that is something that we used to get very carried away with because I was trying to make it so big, and I probably bought too many presents and had too many activities booked, is that it was a very, very expensive time of year. But again, by being intentional, everything was much more thought through, and I was able to spend much more time on choosing the right gifts, planning my gifts out as well, which was something I would usually just do very ad hoc. I wouldn't necessarily plan, and if I saw something I would buy it, which obviously meant that I was spending more money in the long run, and they had a massive amount of presents. Whereas being much more intentional, I was able to plan what I wanted, and then control my spending. I had a budget, I was able to stick to it. But ultimately, yeah, Christmas vision is about creating a season that brings joy, it brings contentment, and it brings peace to you and your family. It's about cherishing the moments that matter most to you and finding your happiness in those moments. So as we move closer to the holiday period, I really encourage you to take some time to reflect on your own Christmas vision. What are the elements that are going to make this season much more fulfilling and joyful for you and your family? And how can you align your celebrations with that vision? In order to help you out, I have got a PDF, which I have a link for, and I'll include that in the show notes. But that's basically a mini little journal that can help you define your Christmas vision. It asks you a few questions about your values, your favourite moments of Christmas, what things perhaps cause you stress in this period. It helps you to embrace those principles of intentionality so you can start that lovely process of aligning your celebrations with you and your family's true values and desires, which is what I want for all of you this festive season. So I'd love to hear what your Christmas vision is this year, so feel free to message me, come and join my Facebook group, the Simple Living Society either, and let's inspire each other towards a holiday season that's not just about doing more, but about being more present, more joyful, and more at peace. So thank you for joining me today on the Simple Joy Show. Here's to a Christmas that's merry, bright, and beautifully simple. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the Simple Joy Show further, then please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at HelloSimpleJoy. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.